Yeah, it does. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Oasis. We have Shauna here. Okay, it's going to be a minute while you guys are coming in, and I'm just going to grab a few cards because I'm going to let Shauna do card pulls too.
Oh, how fun. She didn't tell me that.
I didn't tell her
I
that.
have no idea what to expect. So.
She hasn't done it with me at my house before, and my desk is actually kind of a mess. So I'm going to just put a few things away real quick. Away being, off there. While you guys come in. Let's see, it is Tuesday, the 16th, 10 a.m. I'm going to show you guys something super cool, okay? So we ordered these, what they're called postcards, but they're for our business, and I love new things. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Karen. Sue, Karen would love a card pull. Oh, Karen, we'll put you down. We don't have anyone listed, so now's the time to ask. So these are what we got. We got these new cards. Good morning, Cheryl. Hi, Jessie. Good to see you. So this is one of them. This is another one of them.
I like that one.
This is Shauna's favorite. Let's see. Let's see. Isn't that so cool? Oh, wait. It's over here. And then we got some for our Life Mastery class and some for our Let It Flow class. And on the back, you can't read it because it's going to be backwards. Let's see.
It looks blank.
There. It talks about all the different cool things you can do with us. Isn't that awesome? I'm excited. I love new things.
They're really cool.
So, who else would like a card pull? See, Jessie says, morning, chicas.
Morning, Jessie.
Shauna's going to be with me today and tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yes, I am.
I'm so excited.
I'm on vacation at Jessie's house.
She is. We're having so much fun. We stayed up really late watching movies and talking, and it was super fun. Okay, so who else would like a card pull? Yeah, aren't they cool? And I also got new business cards. They're the same kind of cards that I had before. They're just a little bit different. Do you want any of these, do you feel like? We'll just pull all the decks out.
Messenger, yeah.
Okay, so we have...
I have mine, too.
We have two more slots. Okay, Sue, now we have one more slot for card pulls, and Shauna's doing the card pulls today. I'm surprising her.
She is surprising me. It's making me sweat.
Yeah. Well, you can't hog the time, Sue. That's not possible. This is our time. This is our collective time. There's no such thing as hogging it. It's first come, first serve. Right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
let's bird see. Gets the worm.
Exactly. So morning announcements. Let's see. There's not much.
I think that's what that says.
Oh, perfect.
Yay.
Okay, we've got all three. So morning announcements really quickly. Let's see. We've got dinner with Jessie coming up in June 2nd. That's going to be at Isan Thai. And what else do we have? The chakra workshop is ready. Shauna and I are building her new class.
Yes, we are. I'm very excited. It's going to be good.
So exciting. Lots of things are happening. I think that's everything, actually. I don't think there's anything really...
I'm in Portland today and tomorrow. If anybody wants to get a read or energy or what have you.
Book a session.
Yeah. Just message us or whatever. We can make that happen.
Shauna does amazing and angelic clearings.
Yeah.
Why would I want to get up early just for a worm? Hey, if you were a bird, you would do it. You would totally do it.
You know, you're right. He would.
He would.
He would.
He would.
He's just not a worm.
No.
I mean a bird.
No, he's not that either. He's neither of those things. So he doesn't do that. I mean, I bet if you were a worm, you'd get up early for other worms. I mean, aren't they night crawlers?
Yeah.
So they're kind of up early.
You might know more about worms.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really not sure.
I love worms, actually. I'm the crazy lady who, when it rains outside, I go out and save the worms that are trying to cross the street or are crossing the sidewalks. And I do not put them into, like, a low place. Hi, Andrea. And not if I was a hawk. Yeah, well, you might if you were a hungry hawk. But if you save worms, I'm just going to put this out there. Don't put them in a low ground place because you're just putting them back in the water. You got to put him up in a high planter with good drainage. And then your planter gets good worm soil. Just throwing that out there. Hi, Elaine.
Saving all the worms on Morning Oasis.
I do. People look at me like I'm crazy when I'm out walking in the rain. It's true.
We're going to be walking in the rain today, so I'll let y'all know how that goes.
All right. So Karen is the first one up.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to...
I'm going to adjust here.
Yeah. I made her move around. She was trying to sit, so she's only like
I was trying to be over
this
here.
much in.
Like, hi.
Hi. Well,
She didn't like
no, you need to get in. Good morning, Wendy. Has the worm finally turned? Yes, the worm turns. Shauna never uses my deck.
I have not used any of these, but I seem to want to use the Messenger Oracle.
All right, sounds
If
good.
you want to show her that, you can.
So she's using Raven Felon's Messenger Oracle deck. And I love this deck, as you guys know.
Yeah.
I love Raven Felon's stuff. I'm going to have to look up more of her stuff. Aren't they amazing? They're just amazing.
Okay, you should have warned me so that
Heck no, are
I
you
do
kidding?
this differently than you. I shuffle until the cards come out.
Oh,
so-
yeah, there you go.
And
I like to shock and surprise people.
she does.
I like things to go, like, unexpectedly. Ooh.
Okay.
I love watching how other people do things, too. Oh.
Okay, so the first is Protect the Wild and Green. You want to hold that up?
Yeah.
there? I do not know about these cards, so I'm going to take a peek in the book.
Oh, yeah, 32. I read the book often.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I read the book.
Well, these are nice because they're not.
They're not long.
I'm sorry.
32? I know, right, Jesse? Isn't this exciting? He says it's exciting because he's never had you pull. He's never seen you pull before.
I know, right? Okay, so Protect the Wild and Green. You are a guardian of the earth and all who share it. The trees, the animals, the birds, insects, and inhabitants of the ocean blue. It is time to play an active role in protecting and preserving the wild and the green by being aware of and limiting your impact upon the natural world. This world is not yours to possess, It is a gift given to you and your children. Tread gently, tread with care, and walk with love. Remember, your relationship with the world is a symbolic one.
I think that's pretty telling after me just talking about saving worms.
Right? Yeah, I feel like Karen needs to be in nature more as well. Like specifically go in to really connect with nature. That's how I feel. I'm still sweating. Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. Shauna, by the way, when she came in, had her dragons activate. And then Brian came over last night.
Yes. And spending a lot of time warm.
Yeah. Oh my God. Last night after Brian left, it was barely 70 in the house, and Shauna and I both were sweating. Sweating. Okay. It was crazy.
We were like, what is going on?
So hot. How can I get God, it was bad. It was, so we both are still really hot. Yeah. So yeah, getting out into nature more, feeling more like a sacred relationship as a protector in a sense, maybe.
Maybe doing some gardening.
Oh, yeah.
Some care for the land would be really good. Connect you in better.
So then the other card.
The other card is Wash Away Your Burdens.
It's number 48.
48, thank you. I can't see.
And it actually came in inverted, which just means that that's the struggle around this issue. But we're going to put it right side up. Because you had two cards come forward, Karen.
Oh, yeah, you did. We didn't tell you that. Surprise! Yeah, two cards came flying out together. So
She says she goes out every day and connects, and yes, it is important.
it is, yeah. Yeah. It's really good for her soul.
Yeah.
Very much. So this one says, as you have moved through life, you have undoubtedly experienced moments that have inspired feelings of regret, remorse, shame, and guilt. Excuse me. You have made promises you have not been able to keep. You've judged and blamed yourself and others. You've burdened yourself with feelings born of acts that cannot be undone, which still bind you to the past. It is time to forgive. It is time to lie down in the healing waters and let them wash away your burdens so you can move forward with spirit cleansed. That kind of says it all.
For sure.
It feels like you're struggling to do that, releasing though, with the guilt. Guilt really struck me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, it just keep working, but get into nature to do it. You might need to get, near a river or some moving water.
I was seeing a waterfall and a river.
Yeah, get to where there's some flowing water and really just do the breathing and connecting in and just really just try to release and let that go, because that's really what will help you. Mm-hmm. You'll have all the support of the nature that's around. You have that good connection in, and the flowing water will just really help you to just let it flow out of you. So
I'm also hearing, I don't know, Karen, if you do hikes much, but I think if you can take time over today or the next couple days to go to Waklela Falls hike, I think it's on exit 42. It's at the fish hatchery, not the fish hatchery exit, at the Bonneville Dam, I think, exit. But it's Waklela Falls. And if you'd like, I can post the link for it. It's a great hike. It's not too long. It's a loop hike, so it's like a P loop. I think it's a total of 2 miles. And you pass by one raging waterfall that you're going right by on a bridge. One that's a misty waterfall, Sue. And that's like just dribbling mist, and then the largest volume waterfall in the gorge at the back end of it. And I have had some of the most amazing meditations at that back waterfall. I did say pee. So you want to, I think that would be great for you. Yeah. I know. He always cracks me up. So, yes, that's what I'm getting also.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you know the area, so you know where to tell her to go.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's where I go to do all of that kind of work. So we're going to pull for Sue next.
Yes, we are. And Earth Magic.
Yeah.
The Earth Magic cards. Hopefully you can see that.
They're by Stephen D. Farmer. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this actually, coincidentally, his book about living a shamanistic life is the only book that my guides had me read.
Really?
Yes, the only book.
I really like his work, actually.
I enjoyed the book. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I didn't ever do any journeying or anything it said to do, because
shamanism is not...
didn't feel like it was really what I needed to do. Just needed to understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think she's gonna shuffle and pull the cards. I think one of the things that people ask me when they're trying to figure out what I do and what I am, they ask me, do I do Reiki? Am I a shaman? And right?
Well, most people assume I do what they do.
Right.
So, like, if I meet someone who does shamanistic healing or that type of work, they assume that's what I do.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I do too.
Or if they do Reiki, they think that's what I'm doing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's putting us into context, I think.
Yeah. If I knew my alphabet, we'd have this card up already. It's actually, okay, so Sue, your card is dance, celebration. So it's kind of self-explanatory, but I really like to look in the book at this one.
Yeah. It's
so
a good
I'm going
message.
to do that. I feel like you just need to have some more fun. That just came to mind, but I really should have brought some glasses over here.
I totally surprised her, you guys. And Shauna she's a little older than me, so
I am.
She needs glasses. I wear them all the time, but she just wears them to read.
I'm 48, so that makes me about 10 years older than you?
No, 8 years. No, well, in a few months it'll be 8 years.
Oh, okay. 8 years, so I'm really not that much older.
Not that much older.
She does like to say that I'm the old lady, though. So
I think she says it more than I do, but I like to think it.
I you know what? I love the old lady thing.
I do too, actually.
I love my gray hairs. I've made them purple. Great. Okay, sorry, Sue.
Oh, we're not sorry. We're not sorry at all.
Okay, so I'm just going to start at the message part. The sacredness of celebration is dependent upon the quality of spirit that is present. The quality of spirit is greater to the degree that you are fully present with minimal inhibitions about expressing your joy and happiness through physical movement. Focus on what you want to celebrate. Put on some music and dance, whether slow or fast. Sing a song while you do so. Make one up about what you most have to celebrate. That's always fun. God's wish is for everyone to enjoy their time on earth, and part of that, which is to celebrate your capacity to be joyous and express it through your body, whether in private with a small group of friends or a large communal gathering. Let music, song, and dance be a part of your sacred ceremony, regardless of what you are celebrating. For truly, any celebration is sacred. Yeah, I see. I want to say more social. I want to say bring in some friends and be more social, actively in that way, and just really find the joy in everything. Find the joy in everything you have to celebrate. And I think that would, I feel like an opening. Like I feel like it would really open you in a good way.
Do you get a sense on the block of the joy?
I fear of joy, honestly, which I relate to very well. I still have a very hard time allowing myself to be joyous. So I feel like there's a part that might be fearful of receiving that joy. Something in that realm.
Yeah. And I want to address, there was a question that came up in the last card pull is for Kristen. Oh no, for Jessie. As a boss asked, what do these cards have to do with meditation? So, well, as far as meditation goes, I teach people to do what I call walking, living meditation. So all meditation means is to come completely present into the moment, fully expressing in this moment, in this now, not drawn to the past, not drawn to the future, not pulled out of your now. So when we're doing a quiet sitting meditation, that is just receiving whatever there is around you to receive. But let's say in your waking, walking world, you still want to carry that meditative state with you, staying fully present, fully in that state of what is in front of me now. So what do these cards have to do with that? Well, they help tune you into what you're working on subconsciously that pulls you out of the now. And oftentimes people really aren't aware of what it is that pulls them out of the now. They're just pulled out of it. And then they're back in their normal routine and their normal patterns. And then everything starts to pile up on them. So these cards are just a simple way of giving you a quick, oh, that's what I'm working on, and coming back into focus. Elaine, we only have 3 card pull slots, so I put you down for tomorrow. And Kristen, I also put you down for tomorrow as well. So this one is for Jessie, and if you guys would like that, we can pull them for you tomorrow. Jessie says that Shauna is because you know the high comes with an inevitable low. This is why your fear of joy. So avoiding the happy is a way of avoiding the crappy.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I would have finished that sentence, but I was afraid I was kind of bringing my own stuff into it a little too much. Truthfully, anytime I felt joy as a child, anytime there was a celebration that was about me, I received punishment afterward.
Yeah. So
it was never worth the joy because there was always something going to smack me around the corner. Sorry, there's some emotion still in there.
For sure. No,
but,
don't be sorry.
Yeah, so that would have been the rest
pulling it
of
up
that,
collectively.
Yeah. So,
and that's part of what we're going to work on more today.
Yeah.
She's like, great, you're making me cry. Here,
no, I made me cry.
Yeah, well,
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so Jessie, we got Messenger Oracle for you as well. May or may not surprise you, the card. It's number 4, Be Without Malice. Very interesting. So I have no idea what this means, so I'm going to read it. Or at least for this card deck, what it means. You've been hurt, disrespected, or disappointed by others. And excuse me, another has let you down or betrayed you. It is normal and natural to experience feelings of anger, hurt, and disappointment. Big energy hit on that. To feel any and all emotions is natural, but you have choice always in how you respond. Do not allow your hurt to become a source of infection. Acknowledge it, learn from it and your experiences, and then let the anger, hurt, and disappointment go. Do not allow them to inspire retaliatory acts born of malice or spite. Kind of somewhat self-explanatory. I feel like, and hopefully this is, not in any way offensive, but Jesse, you almost relish in the anger. That's just where you're comfortable. So powerful. Yeah, it is powerful to be angry. I lived that way for many years. I would lash out at the drop of a hat because about what they're lacking, how they're feeling about themselves.
He says, lost the feed.
Now that is
of course
not
you
surprising. Yes, it's not surprising. You could always go watch it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, it's just a matter of knowing that you're powerful in your own. You're powerful in the love that you hold, and the power comes from that. It's a very different type of power, but to be honest with you, now that I'm centered in love, I feel way more powerful than I ever felt as an angry person. And even though I'm still working on receiving the joy to the level I would like to, without the emotion, I'm so much more powerful in my life. So much more. Mm-hmm. So I know you will get there. So your message today was just work on that. See it. Allow it to pass.
Yeah. I know for myself, I didn't grow up in anger. Everything in my household was under the surface. So I didn't really give myself permission to be angry. I didn't know what it was to be angry. So instead it would come out in these eruptions that I couldn't control, and they would come out of nowhere when I'd reached like that bottom of the pit of my level of ability to just stomach what was going on. And so in therapy, we did work on opening up my anger and really giving myself permission to be angry. And then I was pissed off for 2 years. I mean, I was angry about everything you can imagine, and nothing would make that anger go away. And it was all that stored anger. And so once I got to a point where I had kind of worked through all of that stored angry emotions, what I found what was left was I had all these people in my life that created situations for me to get angry about in order to force me to become balanced in my anger. And so once I started to balance out my anger, those people weren't comfortable in my life anymore because I didn't need that to pull the anger out of me. I gave myself permission to become angry about a small thing if I needed to. And when I'm all the way high in the joy, then we have this other all the way down in that anger or that sorrow, right? One or the others. But another thing that's popping in my mind is my husband's therapist who works with men who have struggled with abusive behavior. He tells his clients that angry isn't actually an emotion. Anger is fear plus another emotion. So when we have fear attached to some other emotion, that's what comes up as anger. So getting into the root of the fear, what's the emotion attached to the fear, and what's causing the fear is really the way to address angry feelings. And when you look at it that way, it's like the pop in the balloon of that anger, right? It just goes psh.
Yeah, that was a light bulb moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So fear of joy could very possibly be what drives the anger.
For sure. Yeah. And if you're trying to protect yourself, then that's definitely, and anger, one of the things that's beautiful about an angry outburst is it creates a bubble around you that nobody wants to get in.
Right.
So if you don't want people getting in your bubble, then sometimes that's the most effective. And humans, we're creatures of ease. We're like, how do I most effectively do this? Thank God that's why we're inventors. Mm-hmm. So that's another piece about anger, how it can become a habit of a way of protecting ourselves from these people and recognizing people aren't what we need to protect ourselves from. We need to allow ourselves to feel what's coming. And the people are coming in order to highlight those things and show us what's subconscious.
Which is why we don't want those people that close. Because in all reality, none of that anger up to those other people has anything to do with them. It's really about us avoiding something that we really need to look at. That totally makes sense.
Which kind of leads us into the conversation topic. Don't you love that? So today this week we're talking about obligated relationships. Those relationships that you feel like you can't actually leave, that you feel stuck in. Oh, Jesse says to quote the Terminator, anger is more useful than despair. So what is despair, right?
That was actually what came to my mind. What is despair? I mean, seriously.
So despair is having a lack of any emotion, like a lack of power, a lack of ideas, a lack of an ability to do anything at all. So despair is actually like a pause to whatever it is you're feeling that keeps you stuck in that moment. If I remember correctly, was it the swamps of despair or in the Princess Bride, there's the swamps or some land that he crosses with her. And I think it's despair. I can't remember exactly how that went, but they use that term in that movie quite a bit to highlight the powerlessness that a person can feel in a situation when somebody who has no right to be in power no ability to hold their power, but is just in that position, uses it as a means of control and domination and self-gratification. So then what comes as a result of that is this just despair and this feeling of, I'm never going to get anywhere. Yeah. But anger is a driving emotion. Anger makes things happen. Despair shuts things down. So which is better? What do you want to do? Do you want to stay in it, or do you want it to be forced to change? So anger makes us do something to make it change. Pain makes us do something to change what's occurring. Yeah, people who don't have sensory feeling, can't feel pain, often get these horrible injuries because they don't know they're in pain, right? They don't know that the burner is hot. They don't know that they just got cut. So they don't recognize they have an injury, and so they keep going and going. And sometimes they can even have really long-term detrimental causes as a relationship to that. So is despair, where you're just stuck and there's nothing you can do, better than having an emotion that forces you to change something? I think anger unaddressed becomes despair. I think stuffed anger, unexpressed, becomes despair. That's my opinion on it. Do you have anything you want to share about that?
Nope, I agree. I'm so original.
So I think that what we wanted to talk about was, somebody says, so my fam should thank me for an angry outburst. You know what, Sue? I actually have talked to a lot of parents about this, especially when my son was younger. I have heard so many parents say that they feel really guilty whenever they get angry at their kids. And this also kind of leads into this discussion too. And that has to do with being children and having that anger, having been exposed to it, having been exposed to anger that's out of control, that's rather rage. And so there's a fear that they're going to do that to their children or subject their children to that level of abuse or torment. So one of the things that's important to remember is our job to prepare our family, our children, for the world, is to prepare them for the full gamut of the experiences that they're going to have. The world doesn't give a shit about you until you create something to be given a shit about, right? So the world is not protecting you from its anger. It's not protecting you from its rage. It's not protecting you from its sorrow. It's not protecting you from its need, its want, its desire. And we teach our kids how to tell when a friend is using them. We teach our kids how to tell when somebody is breaking their heart. Why not teach them how to, show what it is to be angry? Hey, you do that? People are going to get angry at you. That's some bullshit behavior. People are going to get pissed off. 1. 2, what is it to be angry and come out of anger? to use anger as a tool to move forward from a behavior or pattern? 3, what is it to resolve and come back together with love and acceptance and forgiveness after anger has occurred? These are valuable lessons that our children need as well. So when I get angry at my son, which happens, I get very angry. And he's scared of me being angry because that 2-year period where I was pissed off all the time, that happened when he was 2 to 4. That's when he's developing his sacral chakra area, his solar plex, and his heart, right? This whole part of his chakra system development was in me being angry. So that means his sense of being creative or passionate or what his role is, that means his sense of personal self and power and his way of showing love for me and our family, that all developed while I was angry. So he has some issues around that, right? Now I could feel guilt and beat myself up over that. Or I could also recognize that's his life path, and those are some of the lessons that he needed in order to figure out whatever it is that he's going to do. And you know what now? Anger doesn't really faze him. When people get angry at him, he's like, whoa, I think you need to deal with that, whatever that is. And even if I get angry at him, he just kind of looks at me and smirks. And that's how we got in that huge fight, because I was so angry, and he wouldn't even be like, sorry, Mom. He just kept going. And I'm like, what the blame? So he actually is not fazed by other people's anger. He doesn't feel like he has to fix a problem for somebody just because they're angry. I struggle with that. If somebody is angry, I feel like, oh my God, I've got to do something so they're not angry at me anymore. He doesn't struggle with that, right? 1. 2, his emotions are not dependent upon other people. He doesn't depend on my stability in order for him to have emotional stability. Likewise, when he's emotionally upset, he doesn't depend on me to get feeling better and more strong. He knows how to do that self-coping and self-care mechanisms. He knows those things. So, and the other piece of it is he can stand in his own anger and speak his truth and speak his voice and speak his feelings when he is angry. And he doesn't do it the way I do. He's not raging. He uses that anger to move forward. So those are all lessons that he learned because I did not hide my anger from him. I did not hide my sorrow from him. I also didn't subject him to the full extent of it whenever I could help it. But that's part of life. That's part of a family. And that's part of humanity. So we have to be willing to show our children those parts of life as well in relationships and interactions. Because otherwise we have maladaptive beliefs around anger, around fear, around aggression, all of that stuff. I think it's important.
Well, yeah, and I didn't do that well with my years of anger. And my oldest, Samantha, has a very difficult time with people in anger and, you know, feeling guilty for somebody else being angry. So, you know, it goes, you know, but it's their path,
Which
you know,
is
and I
path,
had to accept that. It's not that I broke her. It's her path, and these are her lessons to be learning, and I try to support her through, you know, those lessons.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's funny because, you know, it's like an opposite.
We had kind of really weirdly opposite.
Yeah. Opposite,
dysfunctional.
Yeah. Right.
Super damaging.
Right. Yeah. I had the household of complete anger and turmoil from the get-go all the way till, you know, till I was grown and beyond. And then, so.
And she stayed engaging with that source of anger and fear and all of that until she decided to release herself from the obligation.
Right. Yeah.
So I have thought today, because Sean is here and because we both have mothers that we have released from our lives, which is a kind of a rare thing. Like, there's not very many people who give themselves permission to let their moms leave their lives. And we're just coming out of Mother's Day. So I thought it would be a good thing for us to kind of talk about a little bit about what does that look like? It's not easy. You know, I'm definitely not going to sit here and say, "Woo, that was awesome! I'm so glad it's over," because it's something that I continue to kind of struggle with, or feel guilt, or feel a sense of obligation, feel a sense of an emotion, deep emotion. Because when we have a mother, everything about our culture and our society tells us it doesn't matter what they've done to you. It doesn't matter how they treat you. It doesn't matter what they continue to do to you. What matters is they raised you and they were there for you. And so you better be there for them no matter what it is that they need. And I think that we all have those kind of relationships where we feel like, fuck, I don't want to have anything to do with that person anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want ever to be around that person, but oh my God, they're my parent. How do I get out of this?
To love them. I'm obligated to stay involved. I'm a horrible person if I do not, in most of society's eyes. But in all reality, yes, she clothed and fed and tortured me through my life. You know, does that mean that I owe her something at this stage when her behavior is exactly as it was then? That holds me back, my family back. Are we really obligated to that? Honestly.
Yeah.
You know, we can love them from afar. We aren't saying we don't care about our parents. We're saying this doesn't work. This can't work for either of us. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for her.
Right.
You know, it just is not a healthy thing. And I have always felt like if something is not healthy, I don't care what kind of relationship it is, you have to look at whether or not that can be fixed. Moving forward, you cannot stay in that. You just cannot. It's torture.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that what happens is we don't have around us good support networks that create a space where it's okay to say, I'm done with that. You know, one of the differences between, and it's kind of funny because we really have like these two opposite perspectives on all of these things. So Shauna told her mom she's done. Right? So Shauna released her mother from that role, was like, I'm done. Now, we've been doing work ever since to try to help her energetically, emotionally, and physiologically, and psychologically to recover from that. And about, gosh, I think it's 4 years now. Three or 4 years, I can't remember. My mother released me from being her daughter because I called her on her behavior for the first time in my entire life. Really called her on it. Actually, it's not the first time. I also called her when I was 11. I wrote her a letter saying, I don't feel like you actually like or love me. I don't feel like you really want to be my mother. And I feel like I'm not held or loved in this home. And her response to me in that letter, when I gave it to her, I left it on her ironing board, was to come in and read it to me and then tell me how much she loved me, and how she doesn't understand how I could ever have said any of those things. And it was just a complete dismissal of my experience and an assertion of her belief, which was not displayed in her actual interactions with me. Andrea says, very interesting, I just shared an article about this exact subject. Well, it's clearly time. It's in the feed to be talking about this subject.
And honestly, just to be clear, I've been trying to heal my relationship with my mother for many years. I did not interact or speak with her for 6 years, back in my earlier 30s, because I was having emotional breakdowns. I couldn't take her. I couldn't carry her load for her anymore, and I always emotionally carried stuff for her. I couldn't do it anymore. I felt like I had to fix what was going on with me for my children so that I didn't torture them through their lives. And then 6 years went by and I let her back in, and it's exactly the same behavior. And I've worked with her and I've tried to teach her some of what we're teaching others, and I've worked very hard, and I think, honestly, she has too.
And she did shift a little bit with some of the energy and consciousness work, but it slips right back into the pattern.
Yeah, she cannot face what she has to face in order for her behaviors to change. And when we come together, it's just a constant struggle, you know, for both of us. So it isn't that I quickly made that decision. You know, Jessie knows, you know, for the last 4 years, I have concertedly made the effort to continue to work with her and to heal my own, what I call crap from that time. The woman did her best. It's not that she didn't. You know, she did what she could do with what she came out of.
And it's also, Shauna recognizes where she came from.
I do.
And sees and knows and understands how she was made to be that way. That was really important for me also. But for both of my abusive parents, my sexual molesting stepfather and my absentee mom, really, and was to understand, how did they get that way? Where does that come from? And the thing about that is it helps us to understand ourselves better, but it also gives us a sense of a deeper obligation, like we're responsible somehow for their lessons, for their pain, for their suffering. And that in and of itself can be very, that's like a mind mess up, really.
It is.
And it really gets you to struggle. So if you're